So, how you doing?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing great. It's great to have you here. I heard you wanted to talk about self-love and domestic violence, right? So, let's talk more about the self-love first, and then we take it from there. So, go ahead.
Being that I am a victim of domestic violence, I had to learn. Once I left all that behind, I had to unlearn patterns that I picked up being in those two relationships. And it's a process. You have to learn to love yourself. Healing from domestic violence and from narcissism is not easy. You have to unlearn a lot of things that you pick up. You lose a lot of friends, you gain some more. You start noticing a lot of things that not okay. And when you learn to love yourself and put yourself first, it's you feel much better about yourself.
So, let's talk about what it takes away from you.
Your sanity,
Your happiness.
your happiness. It's hard. There was days that I didn't even want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything at all.
Well,
And unlearning things and the triggers that happen is bad.
so what triggers it?
I don't like being told what to do.
Okay. And when somebody tells you what to do, how you react towards that?
It's bad. It's bad. I don't like. I feel like I can't be who I am.
Okay. Does it give you anxiety?
Yes, a lot of anxiety.
And what
It's
would
like
you?
I know what's gonna happen. You tell me what to do. It's like I know it plays in my head. Okay, he's gonna say this. He's gonna say that. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that. Oh my god, I can't say this. I can't say that.
It's like
It's a rolling ball,
it's like your brain is going so fast,
and
right?
it's just bad.
So let's talk about what would you do in these situations to calm yourself down.
Lately, I just focus and breathe. Before, I used to get in my car and just drive to nowhere in circles.
And did you have any family members, any help from anybody?
I I have friends, um, some turn their backs on me because they just can't deal. Others, they're still around. Family members wise, I really don't talk to most of my family because I'm not the one to kiss ass. I know what I go through, I know what I do. Some don't agree with the way I see things, the way I do things. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm living to make me happy.
Right, amen
I
to that.
used to live my life making everyone else happy, and I was forgetting about me.
And
I wasn't happy,
you lost yourself in the process of it.
and I can't do that no more.
So let's talk about more about what's important to self love. Let's talk about what you feel that people need to do to self love themselves.
You have to learn to tell people no. You have to give yourself boundaries. I'm not going to put up with this. I'm not going to put up with that. I'm not going to allow this. I'm not going to let people do this and that to me. It's about you. You have to be about you. Because if you don't love yourself, how are you going to love anybody else?
It's true.
If you can't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of somebody else?
It's true. It's true.
There's a lot of people out here, men and women, that they go through this, and your feelings, you portray them onto your kids. Your kids feel that. Your kids see that, and it becomes a cycle. I can't do that. My son has been through enough. So I had to unlearn a lot of things, and I had to learn to love myself and put me first. Nope, I can't do this. Nope, I can't do that. Nope, I'm not going to allow this. I put me first. And it's hard because it's a process you have to.
Okay. So let's talk about things that you've been through. So I noticed you're a strong woman.
Very
So it takes a lot of guts to come up to this camera and share this with the world. It
does.
really does. Like you're a strong woman, so I'll give you that. So thank
Thank
you
you.
for coming. You're welcome. So let's talk about what made you like this.
both of my sons, both of my kids' fathers, actually. My first baby daddy, he was my high school sweetheart.
Okay.
Everything was good in high school. We were perfect. It was after high school when I got pregnant. Everything was good. And then it wasn't. He started hanging out more, drinking more. With the drinking, started the arguments. And with the arguments, it started the hitting and the yelling and the belittling. And it was just bad.
And he would hit you for no reason. Well, like, wow, that's crazy. Like,
And like I said, I had to learn what he was going to do and what he was going to say. So I wouldn't say nothing to provoke him. Because I felt like no matter what I did, I was going to provoke him.
so you felt less of a woman.
Yeah. And I kept it all to myself. I didn't tell nobody that what was going on until I decided, no, I'm not doing this no more.
Enough is enough.
Enough was enough. August 12th of '04, I remember, because my younger sister, when I called my younger sister to tell her what was going on, that I had got tired of what was going on, she showed up and walked into the house like if she owned it. And she looked at him and he's like, "Oh, your sister punched me in the mouth." My sister told him, "You lucky, that's all she did." And it was bad. Like, I left. I didn't want him to get arrested, but he had to.
Wow.
He was locked up. I was young. I had a baby. I was young. Um, I did start talking to him afterwards again, and then I just couldn't do it no more.
And how old were you when all this happened?
I was 20,
20
21,
what? 2021? Wow.
and I couldn't do it no more. I left him and never went back.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's been a long road after that. It's been bad relationships, failed relationships, one after the other.
So what made you? How long you was with him?
The 4 years in high school and almost 4 years out of high school.
So you dealt with this for 8 years?
Just the last three of our relationship.
Wow. So everything was peaches and cream
In
in
the
the
beginning,
beginning,
it
and
was after I had the baby.
and then after you had the baby, everything changed.
Hmm.
Would you? Do you know the reason why? Like, was there any changes that
No,
anything? No, he just changed out of nowhere.
he just changed out of nowhere, and I wasn't even doing anything wrong. Like, I was the perfect wife to him. I was the perfect girlfriend. I was the perfect mother. Whatever he wanted, he got. Cooked, cleaned. I washed clothes. I took care of my son. Like,
Wow.
I did everything he wanted.
You see, guys, this is what I'm talking about. The ungratefulness of people. You have good women out here that do what they have to do. And women like this have to walk around and suffer and go through things. And we have to make a difference. We can't sit here and keep allowing this. If you want a good woman, you gotta treat her good. And that's the way it is. You can't have a good woman and treat her bad and expect good things in return. Sooner or later, you're gonna lose that. Trust me. I know a thing or two, and this is what it's about. So let's talk about your relationships after that. What you went through after.
After I left him, it's a whole nother story. I started renting a room and I met somebody else. I didn't know that the other person that I met, what he was about. Our relationship just took off too quickly. We did fall in love with each other,
Okay.
but he had a drug habit.
Wow. And what kind of drugs he was on?
Everything,
Okay.
whatever was in the streets, he was using.
Wow.
I didn't know until after we moved in together.
And how you felt about that?
I already loved him, and when you love somebody, you do put up with a lot.
You see, guys, the power of love. Love makes you want to deal with a lot. It makes you want to sit here and not look at the things you're supposed to look at, but deal with certain situations. So I hope y'all understand what she's talking about.
Um,
So,
I I I allowed it for almost 2 years. Detox, coming back out, rehab, losing track again, going back into detox, almost 2 years. Then I couldn't do it no more.
uh,
It it's just been a roller coaster of emotions and failed relationships. And it's just like, when am I gonna actually be loved the way I'm loving these people? And it's never happened.
Why? And you don't, you never think about why? Like, what goes through the back of your mind every time you think about these situations?
Why am I not good enough?
And why you feel like you're not good enough?
Oh, I know I'm good enough, but I don't know why they don't think I'm good enough. And that's the problem. I
Me?
do everything for anybody at the drop of a dime.
See, guys, there's a lot of ungrateful men out here. You got good women by your side. You just don't know what to do with it. So now, as I can see, you're a strong woman and you've been through all these things, everything that happened to you, and you do have your son, and that makes you a strong mom. How long? When was the last time you was in a relationship? For
3 years
love?
ago.
3 years ago?
That's another story in itself.
Wow. Can we hear? Can we hear about the
Oh,
story?
that one is
Interesting.
that one's gonna need like maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, a couple of phone calls.
Wow.
But that relationship, yeah.
So let's talk about what are you looking forward to do now.
I'm just trying to make myself happy. I'm letting God do what He does,
Okay.
because if you don't let God lead, you're gonna be miserable.
And I agree, it's true. And you do have your son, so you're doing a good thing. You
Yeah,
know.
he's gonna be 16, and for the last 9 years, I've been raising him alone
Also, single
because his
mom.
father his father does not like, yeah,
As far as not his life, I think.
not the way he should be.
Wow. So you basically paying mom and dad.
Hmm.
Wow. So look at that, guys. We have another situation where we have a single mom doing both parts. Man, y'all guys need to really get on your grind. Dads need to really step up. This needs to stop. The kids need y'all. So now, how you feel like now you're trying to find yourself, and do you feel like those steps are going good for you?
Sometimes I do,
And why sometimes?
because if there's times I'm like, yo, am I doing it right?
Mm,
Am I really gonna be this happy? Can I really make myself this happy? And there's other times like, damn, really, am I really doing this? I'm alone. I don't have nobody to fall back on.
do you feel like it's better being alone, or do you feel like it's like good to have somebody?
It's good to have somebody that you can count on, that you can talk to. I don't have that.
And you want that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, somebody once told me, a friend, it's the difference between wants
And
and
needs.
needs.
I don't need a man. I don't. I learned that I don't need a man. Before, when I was with my first son's father, and even with my little one's father, I thought I needed a man to survive, because that's how they had me. I was a spoiled princess. I was a spoiled brat. Okay? These men didn't allow me to work. I didn't know what it was to have a job and to hold my own. So that I stood with that mentality until I left my ex-husband and I had to be alone. Nobody did nothing for me. I was like, how am I gonna make money?
So you start learning on yourself.
I had to learn how to do everything by myself. And what humbled me really was the first Christmas I had alone.
Wow.
I didn't take none of my stuff when I left my ex-husband.
And what year
And,
was that?
oh my
Um,
God, 9 years ago was
whew,
finally.
that's a long time ago. Oh
So
man.
I wanted to put up a Christmas tree for my son because he was used to that.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I want that same angel I had. I went on a manhunt on the computer looking for the angel to top my Christmas tree in my house. I found the angel.
Okay.
What humbled me was the price of the angel. I saw the price, it was like $300. I'm like, did I just spend $300 on an angel? Like, when I was with him, I didn't know the concept of money because there was always money in my account. So
Yeah.
all I had to do was swipe.
That's it.
So when I'm alone now with no money, $300 is a lot of money to spend on an angel for the top of the tree.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's no angel. I'm buying the 99 cent, going to 99 cent store and buying a star.
So let me ask you a question. Being that you went through these experiences, right, and you ended up alone, and you had to learn how to survive on your own, what would you be able to tell these women out here to do and what not to do?
Don't depend on a man. Don't. Always find a way to make your own money and do for yourself. Do for even if he says no, 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 I got it. Let him got it. Yes, because at the end of the day, whether he's with you or not, he's still got to pay those bills. Those bills he still has to pay, especially if you're living in his house. You don't got, do for yourself. Just do for yourself.
A man's gonna be a man, but a woman needs to know how to survive on her own
Yeah.
because a woman don't have 100% sometimes, and a lot of women that's the problem nowadays. They want to depend on a man, but I see a lot of women like they doing what they have to do. It's the mindset that you have.
Hmm.
A lot of people been going through their stuff. So let's talk about domestic violence with for other women. What would you say for them to do to prevent these situations? What signs and hints would you be since you went through this experience? What signs and hints for them to look for they won't have to be in a relationship like that?
The way your spouse talks to you, the belittling, the yelling, the accusations of you're doing this, you're doing that, when you know you're not. Okay. Once you see these little tiny little red flags, and it's always the tiny ones, you need to start putting aside money. You need to open your mouth, tell people what's going on, even if they don't believe you, because your relationship is so perfect, nothing can go wrong. Open your mouth, tell somebody. Never keep it a secret, because that was my issue with my first relationship. Nobody knew nothing because I didn't say nothing to nobody. So when I finally had enough and I left, nobody believed that he was doing that to me.
That's crazy.
So you have to open up. You have to tell somebody.
It's best to tell somebody because if not, you won't have nobody in your corner. So let's talk about steps to take when it comes to survival.
Put away money. If he's not allowing you to work, whatever little bit of money you get, put it away. Put it
So,
away. Don't spend it. Stash it. That way you have that money when you decide to leave. You have that money to cushion your fall when you leave.
so you have to think ahead, and you have to think smart. You have to do what you have to do, especially as a woman, because if you depend on a man, and this is coming from a man, if you depend on a man for things, you're not gonna be worth nothing. You have to show a man what you're worth, and you have to know your worth. A woman that depends on a man is worth not really too much because what you're bringing to the table, and that's how we look at things. So if you're not bringing nothing to the table, and you're not worth nothing, why we are with you? A woman is supposed to be there. A woman is supposed to do what she has to do, but you also have to learn how to sit here and survive on your own and show a man, hey, I got this. A lot of guys would like for a woman to come out and be like, hey, babe, can I take you out to dinner? We look at that as, wow. Believe it or not, believe it or not, a lot of us look at that as a good sign. Some guys that don't look at that as a good sign is a weak man. A weak man will sit here and try to put you down, and that's not good. Do you believe in that?
Yeah.
Right?
I
Oh,
was raised in a two-parent household. My mother, my father, my grandmother, my grandfather.
okay.
So yes, the man, my father and my grandfather, they paid most of the bills. Yes, and that's how I was raised. So that, and then the relationship I had, that's what it was. But then I had to learn how to fend for myself, like you said. And now that I'm been single for 3 years and I've been handling my business for 9 years.
Oh,
I'm learning how to do exactly what you said. Show a man that you got it too.
yep. Because that's the way it's gotta be now.
Because I guess the way it was before when I was a spoiled little princess, it wasn't working.
No. So you gotta do other things to, you know, have other outcomes. Because if you keep going the same way, you're gonna keep getting the
I
same
think
results.
exactly
So if you want different results, you gotta move a different way. Correct or not?
correct.
Thank you. You see,
That's why you gotta love yourself. You gotta put yourself first. You have
self
to.
self love is very important. We had this. We was talking about this on season 2 with Eric, and we was talking about a lot with self love, and it's very important because if you can't love yourself, how can you love anybody else?
Exactly.
If you're not, there's people that say, "Oh, I don't fight. I'm not a fighter." So if you're not a fighter, how you a lover?
You gotta fight for
You
love. You gotta
got
fight for what you want. You gotta survive.
you gotta survive, and a lot of people just giving up. A lot of people just say, "You know what? It's easier for me to go to that girl."
Hmm.
Meanwhile, you're going to that girl, but you're breaking this girl's heart, and that's not right,
It's
right?
not.
If you have a good woman here and you have problems, do you believe y'all should talk it out?
Yes. Everybody says communication is key, but it's not communication.
What is
It's
it?
comprehension.
Wow. So wait,
You
let's get
got
more into that.
if you talking to somebody and they don't comprehend what you're saying, you're talking for nothing.
Wow. So
So it's comprehension. They gotta comprehend where you're coming from. They gotta understand. They gotta feel where you're coming from.
so
'Cause-
how can you make a person understand if they're not understanding? How can you show them ways? How can you make them understand what you feel and what you're saying?
well, if you have to know the person, and you're gonna have to figure out a way to talk in their own language so they can comprehend.
Well, what about if you get fed up?
If you get fed up, you just walk away and leave it alone. Eventually, they'll get the hint.
Does that mean you love the person less, or it
No,
just no?
no,
It just means what? Like you're just tired of explaining
yeah,
yourself. So you as a woman, if you got tired, if you was in that situation, what would you do? Like you in your shoes and as a woman, what would you do?
I walk away.
You walk away.
I will argue. Yes, I do argue. I'm not gonna lie. But if you're not comprehending what I'm saying and you're not trying to see the way that I see it, I'm conversation's over. I learned to have peace of mind.
That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. And every woman got their own ways to handle things, and I feel like the way you're going about it is the right way to do it because why are you gonna keep explaining something to somebody and they don't get it? It's like you're talking to the wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap this up. We're gonna